Welcome back, everybody, to True Talk with TruMotion, where a couple of guys talk about how to make the world a better place and hopefully make your day a little bit better in the process. My name is Mark, followed by my co-host Steven. Let's get things kicked off. Well, today, we were talking about what we wanted to talk about today, and Steven brought up a very good topic and subject, and we're like, hey, man, let's run with it, because I've got a lot of questions on it myself, and if I've got a lot of questions on it, I know other people do as well. It's vision. And what is vision? So I always thought vision and goals were basically the same thing. Come to find out, they're different. They're a part of the same tree, but they're not on the same branch, so to speak. So I'm going to turn it over to Steven, and he's going to talk a little bit about the difference between goals and visions.
Hey, thank you. Well, I also had learned this recently. You mentioned that they're part of the same tree, but maybe not on the same branch. Well, think of vision maybe as the tree, and the goals are the parts of the tree.
Gotcha.
So the vision is the tree as a whole, but the goals could be, well, the roots, the branches, the leaves, the trunk. All your goals that I've realized, and I've come to see this, and I want to make changes in my life to actualize this, is all your goals should be pointing towards a vision, a central purpose, why you're there, why you're doing this. And if they don't, then it's a good question to evaluate why is this my goal.
No, that's very true. And we were talking about this before we got on air. You always hear in like corporate America, like they want people that share the same vision as they do. But in reality, they're using the term vision incorrectly, like we were just using it. I think everybody wants their employees to have the same goals as them, but I don't think they truly understand the difference between having the same goals and having the same vision. Stephen brought up a great analogy of someone interviewing two bricklayers, and one bricklayer said, they asked him, they're like, what are you doing? And one bricklayer said, well, I'm laying bricks. And the other bricklayer said, well, I'm building a chapel. So that'd be the difference between like goal setting and having that vision. The goal setting is like laying the bricks for the day. The vision is, what are these bricks going to turn into?
Exactly.
So we were talking about, be like, okay, well, what's the vision for us? And I was telling him, I go, when Master Martin was in the process of creating TruMotion, and we were in the process of transferring over from the old martial arts regime that we were with, I personally did not understand his vision right away, because he kept talking about vision and his vision and TruMotion, and I was like, TruMotion? I was like, come on, that seems like kind of a lame name for a martial arts school. But truthfully, it's the name TruMotion is like an umbrella that encompasses all types of motion. So his vision was not just to cover one aspect of motion, like TruMotion martial arts. That's one aspect that we could help people become a better person, because that's our goal. Our goal is building better people. And if we only offer one aspect to help people become a better person, are we really casting a big net, or do we have really a big vision on how we can help people? Well, the answer is no. So when you have a name like we do with TruMotion, which I absolutely love the name now because I understand what it represents. It represents all forms of motion. So we have things like TruMotion dance, TruMotion yoga, TruMotion firearms, all sorts of different ways of dealing with motion. And through doing that, we have many different opportunities to help and affect people's lives in a positive manner. And that's really where the vision kind of comes into place, because we were talking about earlier, like do our decisions and what we do here as instructors, as an organization, what do we make those in with thinking about what's best for the students? And obviously the answer is yes, but the truth of the matter is it's in a deeper meaning than that. It's with that vision of building better people. Every decision we make is based off of the student's experience. Did they have a good one? How can we make their experience better? Because when people have a good experience, they stay longer. And when they stay longer, you have more opportunities to make a deeper impact in their lives. Hence, building better people. So when we have the opportunity to give them the best experience they have, not only will they have a good time doing what they're doing, but they want to do more of that. And through doing more of that, it's one of those weird things, like when we tell parents about their kids, they're going to be kicking and punching, but yet they're going to be gaining discipline. They're going to be gaining focus. It's the same thing with the students and the student experience. When they have a good experience, they want to do more of that. And through doing more of that, they're inherently putting themselves around better people. They're listening more at home because they want to show to mom and dad, or, if they're an adult, they'd be like, hey, I want to be around more like-minded adults like this. So through that experience, they want to stay more. They want to do more of those experiences. And that gives us more opportunity, like I said earlier, to make a deeper impact in their lives. And through doing that, we can make better people. And through making better people, we can make a better society. And through making that, we can make a better community. So our vision, it's interesting because just thinking about it now, it is to make better people, but truly it's to make a better world. Because when you make a better person, you're making a better world. And that honestly makes me really excited to actually think about it that way. Because now more than ever, we need to think about how can we make the world a better place. And the best way to make the world a better place is making one individual at a time a better person.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, that's like looking at, we're looking at this tree and then we realize that there's a whole forest behind it.
Yeah.
That every the Amazon forest is made up of billions of different life forms, right? And adding one might not seem like a big deal, but if it's an invasive species, it'll be a big deal in a few years.
Yeah, very much so. So it's interesting that we're talking about this because obviously you can't hear it on the broadcast, but what's playing is "Man in the Mirror" by Michael Jackson, which you can call it irony or luck or synchronicity or whatever, but we're talking about making individuals better with a song that's talking about how to make yourself better by taking a look in the mirror. And it's so true. When we think vision, sometimes, again, we think goals and goal setting and this and that. When I hear the term vision, I also start thinking in terms of visualization. Mm-hmm. And that whole movement of manifesting things through visualization, which I do believe that you can, like, if you're thinking about something hard enough, you will make that happen. But a lot of people get that mixed up with, well, if I just think about it hard enough, it'll happen. No, you still have to put in work and you still have to do things to actually make it happen. But if your mind and your vision is not in the right place, I don't care how hard you work for it, it's probably not going to happen the way you think it should happen. Or it may not happen in the timely manner that you want it to happen. So when it comes to vision also, I want people to also think in terms of visualization. Like, where do you see yourself? We always have that question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, you got to visualize and think about that question and about that answer. And a lot of times, you get the cookie cutter like, oh, I'm still going to be doing this and that. And it's like, well, like really, really think about, where do you truly want to see yourself in 5 years, in 1 year, in 6 months? Do you want to see yourself like healthier? Do you want to see yourself with more money? Do you want to see yourself like with less stress? Like, you have to try to be as detailed as possible. And this is one of those things that, like, I obviously, a lot of these concepts we're talking about, we didn't invent and we didn't think about and all that stuff. Like, we're piggybacking off of other people's experiences and other people's thought process. And it's like, they're absolutely right. So when we're thinking about things, the more detailed your vision can be, the greater opportunity that vision or visualization will actually happen. Okay, and this is where I think people get them confused with goals. Okay. But goals, like you said, are those tree branches and the roots, and they're the steps to get to your vision. Because a lot of people, let's take weight. Like, well, I want to lose weight. Okay, well, that's a good start, but like, you have to be detailed in that goal or in that vision. Be like, okay, where's your vision? Where's your end result? Be like, okay, well, I'm 200 pounds right now and I want to drop 50 pounds. Be like, okay, well, I want you to visualize yourself on what you're going to look like when you lose that 50 pounds. Okay, a lot of people don't do that. They're like, oh, I want to get a number. And they write the number down, which is good. Don't get me wrong, that's good. But nobody ever takes the time to think, okay, what am I going to look like when I lose this weight? What do I want to look like when I lose this weight? Or, for young people trying to buy a home, they're like, I want to buy a home. Well, great. That's awesome. Well, what does your home look like? What color is it? How many square feet is it? How many bedrooms do you have? What does it look like on the interior? What does the outside look like? You have to think in terms of detail, because the more detailed you are, the more likely you are to make it happen, because you have that in your mind and you're more likely going to manifest that. Have you ever noticed that with something that you've ever thought about, or something you wanted to obtain? All of a sudden you're like, man, I was really thinking about this hard, and the next thing you know, you're like, holy crap, I've got it.
Yeah, that is exactly how you create your vision. Is you make it specific. I mean, not like that, but you add as many details as you can. There's going to be changes. There might be things that might not be exact, but the more you think about it, just by adding those details, the more you say, this is where I need to be. I think, going back to the weight loss example, I think the vision for someone who wants to lose weight is not that they want to lose weight, it's that they want to have a better life. That's their vision. They want to be healthy. And that being healthy could incorporate losing weight as part of that vision. And then running into a myriad of other things like, well, what does my new life look like? What are my habits? What are things that I need to do to live that life and be able to work through all the steps that I need to be where I want to be? So I'm running into something similar, because I'm running a couple businesses and I want to see them. I want to have a vision for them. And right now it's like, yeah, I want to be successul. But what does that mean? What is that? What are we walking to here? What's the end goal? What do we have an end goal? Do we want it to end? And those are questions that I have to evaluate and figure out as well. But when it comes to setting a vision, like what do we have as sort of our central? Is everything that we're building pointing towards our vision? Like, if we have a vision set, what are we doing to get there?
No, yeah, I get what you mean. Because again, a lot of people will, excuse me, they'll say they want something, but then their actions don't follow what they want.
Yeah.
Okay, like weight loss and fitness is the easiest one to kind of tackle. So it's like, oh, I want to lose weight, and then they go to McDonald's and order a Big Mac. And it's like, okay, is that the worst thing in the world? No, but that at the same time, if you do that consistently, that's not going to help you get to your goal. So is that truly what you want, or is that just saying what you want? So you have to take a real deep look inside, and you have to really kind of tear down those walls and figure out, what is it that you truly want? What is deep down inside? What is your vision? What is your goal? What will make you happy, maybe? What will make you healthier? What will give you a stronger mentality? What will make you become successful? And success is different for everybody. Sometimes success is a money number. Sometimes success is a freedom number. Sometimes success is just having people look up to you and be like, God, you're doing really well. Maybe that's success. So success is different for everybody, but you have to really look at it and be like, well, do I really want to become successful? Do I really want to be healthier? Do I really want to lose weight? Do I really want to make an impact? And you have to look at their actions and their goals, and do they coincide? Okay, if they coincide like 95% of the time, then yeah, I truly believe that that's what they want, because everybody makes mistakes. We understand that. Okay, so nobody's expecting anybody to be perfect nowadays, which you can't be. Okay, so if you're like, oh, I'm only gonna listen to people that are only 100% right all the time, well, then you're not going to listen to anybody, because nobody's right all the time. Okay, so when we're making decisions on like events, and we're looking, we're planning our 2024 calendar right now. Something we haven't done in a while, but I was talking to Master Martin. I was like, hey man, we really need to get our events lined up for the next year so we can start offering them to students early. So if they need to make arrangements, they can make those as necessary arrangements. Okay, because again, going back to the student experience, it goes both ways. We can either make students with them, or we can ruin students with them. So we want to do our best to make sure that we are making a positive impact through these experiences with our students. Not, oh crap, that one sucked, I hope we see them again. Which again, every now and then, mistakes happen, and things fall through at events or whatever. But we never make decisions based off of not giving the best experience to the students as possible. And that's something that I hope everybody truly sees when we put on certain things. When we do tournaments, when we do challenge training days, when we do all-star weekends, when we do the animal tests, when we do all these fun different things that honestly no other martial arts schools do. Okay, yeah, some martial arts schools do tournaments, but nobody does animal tests. Nobody does all-star weekends. Nobody does challenge training days. Nobody does retreats. Nobody takes trips. I mean, I've never heard of another martial arts studio like putting together a trip with their students to go somewhere, do a class in that place, and then they just have fun at that city or state they're in for the rest of the weekend. It's like, no, nobody does that. So we always try to make sure we maintain our vision of building better people through making sure the experience they have coincides with trying to build better people. And that's something we're always trying to improve. We're always trying to make sure we're marketing towards. We're always trying to show that face of what we're doing. So like when we meet new people, we should be exuding that through just talking to them. Where it's like, man, I feel like I really like this person, and I feel better having met them. Okay, Like I believe it was a local guy here named Sean Whalen. He's kind of a religious guy, which is interesting because you look at him and you wouldn't think he's a religious guy. But he was talking about how he could, I guess, talk about Jesus and religion to other people without them rejecting him. And he said something that if you do it correctly, people will see that religion or that faith or Jesus through you. So if you're being exactly what you're trying to profess and preach, people will get that message without you having to tell them. They'll see that person within you. And I was like, that's very interesting. I like that because I don't like to be sold things. So it's like I don't like going somewhere and people are trying to like, oh, hey, have you heard of this new product? And like, no. I don't even care if it's good for me. I don't want to hear about it. Okay, why? Because I'm not approaching you, you're approaching me. It should be backwards. That's me personally. That's not everybody. That's me personally. Okay? So if I come up to somebody or somebody comes up to me and they have this certain energy about them, it's either going to be good or bad, and I'm either going to listen or I'm just going to shut them off. And we all have those people. You know, the people that are just starting out a business or like starting out something, and every time you talk to them, they're like, hey man, you should totally do this. Or hey man, you should totally do this. Or hey, you should totally buy this stuff. Or hey, I can help you with that. You should. They're just like, dude, like, I just want to say hi. Like, don't try to sell me 18 different things. Like, I've known you for 20 years. Like, leave me alone. Like, if I wanted your services, I would buy them. So nobody likes to be sold like that every time you want to come up to somebody. But if you're talking to somebody and all of a sudden, just through talking to them, you feel this energy or this wave of like, man, they're pushing something on me, but they don't have to tell me about it. That's really cool. And then that to me tells me they are legit about what they do and they are truly passionate about what they do. Because that only comes out through people that are passionate about what they do. People that try to sell you what they do, the ones that aren't passionate are just awful.
I want to add to that. Part of my learning experience with vision is you got to be careful that you're not following someone else's vision.
Yeah.
Someone else's vision for you.
Yeah, exactly.
The example that I recently came across was this person maybe makes the best. I don't know. Let's say the best steaks in the world. Okay. And people are like, every time they have one of his steaks, they're like, you need to start a steakhouse. And the person doesn't know necessarily if they want to do that, but because so many people are telling them that, they go forward with it. And it ends up crashing and burning because there's a lot more to running a steakhouse than just making great steaks. Their vision wasn't theirs. They tried to start something based on two things. But what they tried to start was actually based on their personal feelings on their vision was they like making people happy. They like cooking for people that they know. Now that they have this steakhouse, they're cooking for strangers, and that's making them unhappy. And that's kind of where we need to. I think we're TruMotion does it a great job because who's going to say that's not my vision? I don't want to be a better person.
Exactly.
But the aspect of that vision is just like, well, how can we help you? It's a very broad thing. We're not pushing anything specific on them, aside from maybe behaving in class, but that's how it goes.
No, that's very true because each individual student's going to have their own vision on what they want to accomplish out of their training. Our vision is building better people. Now, does that mean they have to get to black belt? Not necessarily, but I'd love for them to get to black belt. Okay? I've come to know that black belts are some of the hardest students to either maintain or control, which is ironic because you wouldn't think that would be the case, but it is. It seems like when people once they get their black belt, they bounce. They're done because they see it. They view it as an end.
That's the completion of their vision.
Yeah.
Rather than just a step of their vision.
Exactly. So everybody that trains, like Stephen was saying, they're all going to have their own unique reasons for being here. And that's where it's up to us to make sure that we find out what it is that they're coming here for. I mean, and again, they may say one thing, but they mean another. Okay? So they could be like, oh, I just want to work on, becoming healthier. Well, the answer could be, I want more confidence because I don't feel good about being in my own skin. Okay? So through the experiences that they have, the longer they'll train, the more opportunities we'll have to get to the real reason on why it is that they're training and what their real vision is for themselves. And that's why, I love what we do here at TruMotion, because building better people coincides with everybody else's vision. Okay? I've never had somebody come in and be like, I want to be the giant bully in class, and be like, I want to go on this spree of just beating people up in the streets and this and that. And this, nobody comes in to martial arts with ill intent on causing harm.
Worst person.
Exactly. It's like, I am too good of a person. I need to come in and train so I can take it down a notch. It's like, nobody does that. Okay. I would like to think that, there's somebody that good out in the world that they have to become a worser person to relate to the rest of us. But that's just unrealistic. I mean, it's flipped. They don't feel good about who they are, and they need to work on becoming happier with themselves. So the whole, building better people, that falls under everything that they want to become. Okay? Whether that's being healthier, happier, more confidence, self-esteem. You list anything you want. That's building better people. Okay? And we all need to work on becoming the best versions of ourselves. And the crazy thing is I've been doing this for, oh my gosh, almost 20 years now. It's kind of scary to say. But I'm still doing that stuff. I'm still working on trying to become the best version of myself. Because I'm always changing. So the best version of myself is always changing as well. The best version of myself in my 20s is not going to be the best version of myself in my 40s. This is not going to happen. Why? Because I'm not in my 20s anymore. Okay? And I believe Muhammad Ali said it the best. He goes, if you still think and do the same things you did in your 20s and now you're in your 40s, you just wasted 20 years of your life. Okay? So it's okay to change. It's okay to become a little different. It's okay to have some views change, as long as they're your own. Okay? And you're changing them because you want to change them. Because I know how I used to think and feel in my 20s is not how I think and feel in my 40s. Why? Because I had more life happen to me. I grew up more. I had a family. Different things have happened, and it's caused me to think differently about a lot of things. So it's okay to be one way at the beginning part of your journey, but yet be completely different by the end of it, as long as that's the vision that you're trying to take. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic when you think of vision, because I didn't think we would have that much to talk about when it came to vision. Right? It's you think about it, you see it, blah, 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 blah. And again, I always thought goals and visions were kind of the same thing. No, they're similar, but they're definitely not the same. And again, it's like when we're thinking about our students, every student is different. Every student is unique. And that's where the challenge, I don't even want to call it a challenge, but the excitement of teaching comes into play, because it's like you can't teach everybody the same way. You can't talk to everybody the same way. Everybody's different. Everybody's unique. Everybody has different visions they want to get out of their training. Even kids. Kids are the funnest, because they can't articulate what their vision is. They probably don't even know what it is. Their parents have an idea of what they want it to be for them, but they have no idea what vision means. They just run around and hit things. That's it. They're like, hey, what did you want to do in karate class today? They're not going to be like, well, I really want to work on my vision of becoming a better person. And no kid is ever going to tell you that. They're just going to be like, I want to run to the heavy bag and hit it as hard as I can.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, good job. You know? So when it comes to kids, I like it because it's more of a challenge. Okay? Adults, they're fun too. Adults and teens, they're a lot of, I love teaching with adults and teens as well, because you can be detailed with them, but they have a better idea of what it is that their vision is. You know, they can articulate it a little bit more. Kids, no, not at all. They just be like, hey, how was your day? And they'll be like, what? How was your day? What day? Today. How was your day today? Oh, it was okay. It's like, that's about as much as you're going to get out of them. Yeah. Okay? You're not going to be like, hey, what did you want to learn and what did you want to become from taking classes? They'd be like, taking classes? What classes? Karate classes. Oh, yeah, karate classes. Yeah, they have no idea. But yet, they are the ones that have the greatest opportunity to change. Why? Because they're always, every day is a new challenge for them. They haven't run into the routine of like seeing the same thing over and over again. So when they're excited about stuff, they're really excited about stuff because there's a good chance that's never happened to them in their life. And you get to be a part of that. So
I want to see if I can retell this another analogy of vision. Okay. And maybe that will spur us talking about like how we want to, you know, go into setting visions for our students. I think next year would be an awesome time to like start bringing things in that you and I know, like, and maybe opening up the horizons of our students like that, because I know we're going to let them go at their own pace, but at the same time we'll make the opportunities there. So the analogy that I have for you is very similar to what we opened with the two bricklayers. It's two individuals that lay rail lines. They work together. They're like best friends at work. But the company does a shift in manpower, and they end up going to separate branches of the rail company. So they are no longer working together. One of the individuals talks to his foreman and says, well, what can I do here to grow? What can I do here to do more? And through that conversation with his foreman, he doesn't replace his friend, but he ends up getting promoted, becomes a foreman, becomes a regional foreman, and then, I know my titles are all wrong, but becomes basically the director of the railway.
Okay.
He now has the opportunity to visit the rest of the different branches, go to different see how the progress is across this transcontinental railway. He ends up going around meeting the different arms of the company, and he ultimately runs into that person from many years ago, his friend. He's like, hey, I know you. We used to work together. Let's go have some lunch. And so he takes his friend out for lunch. His friend is in the same spot that he was when they were working together. And he asks his friend, well, it's been some time. Where are you at in life? And his friend answers, well, they pay me to lay rail. So that's what I do. And so the takeaway is that his friend has the vision of the paycheck, has the vision of the immediate takeaway, but he has the vision of the big picture. His his vision is the railway. And so that's kind of where we can see, and maybe we can meet our students where they're at and see, well, let's see what their vision is. Are they looking for big picture? We can help them get to big picture. Are they looking for the next step? We can help them with the next step.
No, I think that's really true. Unfortunately, I've noticed just with a lot of people in general, they're very short-term thinking. They may not understand. It's like, hey, if you take the pay cut now, it's going to be invaluable for you in the next 5 years. But yet they don't want to take the pay cut because they don't understand the long-term benefits of it. Or we've become a society of instant gratification. So if it's not instantaneous, it's very difficult to obtain. That's why with martial arts, we have this unique ability to create long-term thinkers with the act of, we don't have seasons.
That's right.
You know, there's a reason why kids play sports and play lots of sports. It's because they only last 3 months and then they're done. Then they don't have to do it again for a while. And they'll want to come back to it because they did it for 3 months, but then they got to take 9 months off. And I'm like, oh, it's football season again.
It's fresh.
Exactly. And that's why they'll continue to do it, because it's for only short increments of time. Versus this, where it's year round. So all of a sudden, someone trains for a year. That's the equivalent of 4 years of playing seasonal football in 1 year. Okay? And to them, that's difficult. They're like, I've been doing this forever. Well, in their lifetime, it does seem like it's forever. But in reality, it's not that long. So when it comes to that short-term versus long-term, kids, they don't, obviously, we've already established they don't understand the difference between the long-term and short-term. In fact, I have this conversation with parents all the time. They'll come and they'll be like, oh man, it was such a fight to get them here. And it's like, well, what were they doing beforehand? They're like, oh, they were playing with their friend. And I go, that's why.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what do you mean? I go, well, let's just think about it like this. Let's say you were doing something really fun and someone came up to you and be like, hey, stop having fun. We need to go somewhere. Now, what would your reaction be? They'd be like, might be a little upset. And like, yeah, of course. No, so is they. So are they.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't understand the difference between stopping having fun where they're at and continuing to have fun somewhere else. The only thing they hear is stop having fun now. So when it comes to creating long-term thinkers or long-term, just creating people that do things long-term, that's where the belt system comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you don't get a black belt in a year. Okay? Most of the time, you don't get a black belt in 2 years. You know, the average adult, it'll take 3 to 4 years to get to black. Okay? The average kid or child, you're looking at 6 to 7 years before they get to black. Okay, everybody remembers Hayden. Hayden was one of my first students ever signed up in the dojo. He signed up when he was 4 years old. He got his black belt when he was 17. Okay. 13 years. Most people won't ever do that.
Yeah.
You know? Most people don't even stick with the same job for more than a year. So adults, they need this just as much as anybody to teach them thinking long term. You're not doing it just to kick and punch. You're doing it because this is going to help you more mentally. It's going to help you physically. It's going to help you with your marriage. It's going to help you with building relationships. It's going to help you making friends. It's going to help you with everything you didn't know you needed help with. And that's, I think, one of the best things about teaching and training and martial arts in general. I mean, I never thought it would help me with as much as it did. But yet, here I am almost 20 years later still doing it. You know, and I look at a lot of my friends that laughed at me for getting into martial arts, and not only getting into it, but making a career out of it. They never thought that would happen, but they've gone through at least anywhere from 5 to 10 jobs in the time frame that I've been doing one. And it's like, God, that's no way to build any kind of stability. So having that vision, you really want to think long term with it, because it's, man, short term is like, you know, instant gratification. It may feel good in the moment, but truthfully, it doesn't really benefit us in the long run. So I encourage everybody to really kind of take a real honest look at themselves and say, what is my vision? Okay, and not only what is my vision, but break it down into different aspects of your life. What is my vision at work? What is my vision at home? What is my vision for my relationships? What is my vision for my health? One of the things that I've encouraged the cadets and assistants here is write yourself your own mission statement for your life. Okay? What is it that you want to achieve? What is it that you want to do? And that kind of goes along with that vision. Okay? It could be money centric, it could be spiritual centric, it could be emotionally centric. It doesn't matter, it's yours. So don't going back to what Stephen says, don't follow someone else's vision or get into something because everybody tells you to. Follow your vision. Okay, and there's no right or wrong with it. I mean, let me rephrase that. Yeah, there are bad things you can do. Don't do bad things. Okay, we all know what bad things are. Okay, but if you're looking to make yourself a better person, there's no wrong vision. Okay, there's no one way to do something. So if someone's like, oh, this is the best way, that they're telling you is the best way for them. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can listen to them because there's probably a couple of things that you could take away, but that was the best way for them. You are not them. So you do have to kind of take a little bit of ownership and figure out the best version for yourself. Okay, that's kind of hard because you gotta answer some questions you may not want to have answered. But the only way to make true progress is by taking an honest look. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. You got to take a look at that person in the mirror and ask yourself those hard questions. Are you willing to do that? I can't answer that for you. Only you can. So that's what I encourage you to guys, everybody listening, to do this week is take a look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what do you want your vision to be? What do you want your vision to be in 3 different aspects of your life, whether it be professionally, relationship-wise, and physically. Those are just 3 examples. Okay, what do you want your vision to be? Okay, then once you write it down, tell somebody. Tell somebody you trust. Okay, because they'll either help you obtain your vision, or they'll tell you whether or not you need to continue talking to them. Okay, because they'll either help you with it or help you run away from it. Okay, and you want to always surround yourselves with people that will help you obtain the best version of yourself. Kind of anything else you want to add in, Stephen?
No, just doing those things, creating a vision for yourself, writing it down, putting it somewhere that you can see it often. Those are things that define people who make it versus people who don't. So I would have that as a takeaway. If you're very brave, put your vision in the comments below. Love to read it.
That's awesome. Yeah. We'd love to help you with it too, whether it be if there's topics we need to talk about or things that we can discuss. I mean, again, our whole goal, our whole vision is building better people.
That's well said.
So thank you for taking the time to listen to us again tonight. Again, if you have any topics or comments, please leave them down below. But if not, have a great night, everybody, and we'll kick it back with you next time.
Take it with us next week. Bye, everyone.